Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Do you like NASCAR? Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative. Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative. Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative podcast. Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative.
This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to Top of the Morning. I'm your host, Addul Ali, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch the show here on Millennium TV 24, also live on Facebook and Instagram. As always, jump in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from this morning so that we can get you a shout out. I hope you are doing well. Today is TUC Mug Day. We are on our standard Urban Conservative mug, which you can get one by registering at tuconservative.com. Get yourself a membership there. It's only $10, and say we'll get you one of these nifty The Urban Conservative coffee mugs. I am sipping an exclusive blend this morning from my good friends out in Kannapolis, French Express Coffee. Shouts out to Ryan French and the whole crew at French Express. They've got a new location opening up, so make sure you get out and support that. And one thing I got to tell you, folks, we've got an amazing coffee scene here in North Carolina. I'm always trying my best to figure out which local coffee shop. I mean, you got to do the Starbucks when you're on the highway and you got nothing else and you don't know where the local spot is. So you do the Starbucks every once in a while, but there's nothing like fresh ground, local stuff. They really put a lot of energy and care into what they do. And if you're ever in Cabarrus County or in the region, please stop on through, check out our good friends over at French Express Coffee. Ryan and the team do a great job. They make you feel welcome. Awesome ambiance in the building. So big ups to them. Want to make sure we shout them out. Also, in the news, man, we don't normally cover sports, but, there's been a unfortunate happenstance. They had to basically put the game on pause last night because of the hit that this young man took. And if y'all look here and see, basically, he took a hit at the wrong time is what the medical professionals are saying. If you notice, he took a step, and then just collapsed. Basically, what they're saying is that when he took that hit, it was done at such a time as it caused a cardiac arrest. Well, he is listed in critical condition. They are monitoring him. They have him sedated right now. So to Damar Hamlin and his family, thoughts and prayers go out to them. You know, people think the NFL football is just a game, and it is just a game. But you got to remember, these people are taking the equivalent of car crash impacts 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 times a night. So shouts out to his family and a speedy recovery to that young man. You know, he probably means a lot to his family and his friends. So we got to make sure we support in prayer him and any of the other folks that are involved in that. I've been seeing people are calling for the other player to get fined or fired. I didn't see him do anything wrong. He was just playing the sport. But again, we don't really cover sports here. That's something else. But I thought it would be important for us to talk about that this morning. One other thing I want to mention before we get started on today's news, right? This week, start of a new year, let's all try to practice some common decency. Let's all try to hold the door. But also, when you hold the door for somebody, if the door is held for you, make sure you say thank you, because there's nothing ruder or more rude than you taking the time. You didn't have to hold the door, but let's just try thank you sometimes, okay? I know it may hurt a little. You know, you may not have had the morning you wanted to have, but if somebody is nice enough to hold the door for you this week, let's just try thank you, okay? Let's give thank you a shot. So we've got some interesting stuff we're going to cover. First thing I want to talk about is this lady right here, okay? So it's the first thing we're going to talk about this morning is that young lady right there. And if you don't know who that young lady right there is, that was the Attorney General for the Virgin Islands. Now, isn't it interesting, okay? Isn't it interesting that you have Joe Biden, okay, him and his wife, going to the Virgin Islands. Then you have this lady getting fired shortly after Joe Biden and them get there. I wonder what would cause this young lady to be fired. Now, the U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General Denise George was fired by Governor Albert Bryan. Just so happens that he's a Democrat, just days after announcing a lawsuit that accused banking giant JP Morgan Chase of turning, quote, a blind eye to evidence of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged sex trafficking operation. Jeffrey Epstein didn't hang himself. George filed a lawsuit against JP Morgan Chase in federal court in Manhattan last week, arguing the financial institution benefited from Epstein's sex trafficking operation and helped conceal activities that occurred on his property by failing to comply with federal regulations on records properly and reporting that may have tipped off Epstein's activities to U.S. officials before they officially came to light. As Breitbart reported, financial institutions can connect or choke human trafficking networks, and enforcement actions filed and injunctive relief obtained by attorneys general are essential to ensure that enterprises like Epstein's cannot flourish in the future, George wrote in her complaint. George argued that JP Morgan Chase should have thought twice before allowing Epstein to become a client, given that he pled guilty to sex-related charge involving a minor in Florida in 2008. However, on New Year Eve, Governor Bryan confirmed to several news outlets that she was fired from her position as Attorney General. In a statement, he said that I relieved Denise George of her duties as Attorney General this weekend. I thank her for her service to the people of the territory during the past 4 years as Attorney General and wish her the best in her future endeavors. In other words, it sounds to me like somebody's protecting somebody. Isn't it interesting when Joe Biden got to Ukraine, he talked about the story, how he got to Ukraine and the people wouldn't get the money unless the prosecutor was fired. Doesn't this have an interesting inkling of a ring of that? I'm not saying that Joe Biden went to the Virgin Islands just to get this AG lady fired, but I think the timing is a bit suspicious, no? Is it me, or is the timing just a little bit odd? I also think it's interesting because we're talking about a pedophile ring, right? People throw this conspiracy theory stuff. Oh, there's no such thing as a pedophile ring, but this dude had an international network. You think none of the people that work for JP Morgan Chase are in that little Epstein Island book? You don't think there's any Republicans in that Epstein Island book? I'm a Republican, folks, and I'm telling you, there was probably some Republicans in that book. you know? So the Virgin Islands chief law enforcement officer, their attorney general, gets fired right after Biden touches down. I just think that's rather suspicious timing. Okay. Then the other thing you got to consider when we look at the fact that Joe Biden, and as we talk about this, I want to also show you guys this. Okay. This is something that the RNC research team put together, and I think you'll find this interesting. This is the 2022 Joe Biden spent 146 days on vacation. Could you imagine a job that allowed you 146 days of vacation a year? Wouldn't we all want a job that allows you 146 days of vacation a year? I mean, look at this. Off 3, work 4. Off 3, work 3. Off 4, work 3. Off 3, maybe work a week and some change. Off 3, work 4. Off 4, work, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Work a few days, off a few more. Don't you wish you had a job that did you like that and paid you a couple of $100,000 a year? I'm just saying, folks, at the end of this all, we got to consider something. Did Joe Biden run for the presidency to get unlimited vacations? Because 146 days of vacation seems a bit much, no? Does not 146 days of vacation seem like a lot, considering the southern border crisis, considering the immigration issues, considering the rise in crime and the rise in inflation in our country? Shouldn't the president kind of be here? Shouldn't he be kind of working a lot more than being off 146 days? Where do you get a job that gives you 146 days of vacation, folks? I would love to get a job that gives me 146 days of vacation. Yeah. So the Virgin Islands Attorney General fired for going after JP Morgan Chase right after Joe Biden touches down. Ain't nothing squirrely, ain't nothing secret about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break right here on Top of the Morning. Don't go nowhere. Grab a cup of coffee. We'll be right back.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
All right, folks, welcome back to Top of the Morning. I'm your host, Addul Ali. I hope you've got yourself a good cup of coffee and you are having a great morning so far. And I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that supports the platform, enjoys what we do. Make sure you get your Millennium TV 24 app so that you can watch us on your Roku, Amazon, and Apple smart TVs, your Samsung smart TVs, and all that good stuff. You can get the content anywhere, anytime you want it. We got an interesting thing happening here, okay? So, a lot of us are, especially American citizens, if you're watching in the US, we have this sort of soft expectation that politicians are liars, okay? Be wrong to say that we didn't hold that position, but a lot of us know politicians are not often the most forthright people, okay? Especially considering the length of time that some of these politicians have been in Washington and state government, and just think about the things they say they're going to do and the things they do when they actually get elected to office. We know that there's a corporate jargony flavor to what politicians say in order to get elected. And then the thing kind of changes when they get in office, and they tend to do things a little differently. And I'm talking about specifically here this whole George Santos, the Republican out of New York's 3rd District, that has come under recent fire for, well, basically lying about everything. Lying about his heritage, his employment, and some other things. And stories have come out that he bought his ex-boyfriend a non-existent ticket to Hawaii and stole his cell phone and all this kind of thing. And people are calling for George Santos to not be sworn into the Congress tomorrow. Well, here's the thing, right? when we talk about lies, because they're making this out like this guy, and look, he's a liar. I'm not saying in any certain terms that I agree, support, defend anything the dude has lied about. He's clearly a liar, obviously a liar. But let's talk about the liar in chief, shall we? Shall we talk a little bit about the liar in chief? Let's take a look at this.
I've written extensively when I was a law professor. Been on a lot of university campuses. Matter of fact, for 4 years, I was a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
That's
There's
a lie.
a story that you told at least 3 times about Nelson Mandela. Take a look.
I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robbins Island.
I guess the question is, were you confused or were you just trying to embellish a story?
He was
They
lying.
think I'm kidding, man. Seems like yesterday, the first time I got arrested anyway. But I am a hard coal miner. Anthracite coal, Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Hell, I might be president now if it weren't for the fact I said I had an uncle who was a coal miner. It turned out I didn't have anybody in the coal mines, you know what I mean?
Really?
I tried that crap, you know.
My dad was he was a salesperson. He wasn't a coal miner. My great-grandpa was, but I used to drive a tractor trailer.
Oh,
Come
awesome.
on, bro. What
And
is
so
this
I
dude
know a little
not
bit
done?
about driving big trucks.
No, that's great.
But and Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And it's the God's truth. My word is abiding.
He lied to voters, according to the New York Times, quoting aides of Biden's, about having marched in the civil rights movement. Advisors had gently reminded Mr. Biden of the problem with this formulation. He had not actually marched during the civil rights movement, and more than once, Mr. Biden assured them that he understood and kept telling the story anyway. That is really, really weird.
And I'm not saying I am black, but I want to tell you something. I got started out of an HBCU, Delaware State. Now, I don't want to hear anything negative about Delaware State here, okay? I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home.
That I quoted Robert Kennedy without attributing it to Robert Kennedy. I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, Mr. Biden used 5 pages of published law review article, of a published law review article without quotation or citation. That's precisely right. And I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer.
Yeah, folks, that is your president right there. So before Democrats get to throwing boulders, one who lives in a glass house ought not throw rocks. Remember that Elizabeth Warren Native American spiel? Remember Kamala Harris listening to Tupac and Biggie in high school when they weren't even out yet? There's so many examples of Democrats doing the same thing, and we're not making any excuse. I'm not saying what George Santos did was slightly okay, was all right. It doesn't need to be dealt with. I think there ought to be some sort of investigation, but this, folks, is exactly why people think there is a swamp. When you have Republicans who are saying this dude should not be installed into Congress. Now, I'm gonna tell you what this is about. And this might get me in trouble with some of my Republican friends, and it's okay, but this is about votes. They don't care. These people clearly don't care. This is not about ethics. This is not about the right person being in there. This is not about somebody running for office and being honest with the voters. This is about people wanting power and people wanting control. They don't care about that. They care about the number of votes they're going to be able to get their agenda through. And that's what this is all about. George Santos is a liar. It's clear. It's obvious. He's admitted that he's lied about it. He's gone on TV and got rocked by people who are just calling him a liar. So if we want to continue to see Republicans doing well, we got to call out stuff like this when we see it. We got to let people know we don't support, defend, or in any way condone people doing this. It's a disrespectful thing to the people that live in that district. You know, he said, I'm not a Jew, I'm Jewish. You said you was a Jew, bro. And there's so many other lies. But we'll take a real quick commercial break right here on The Urban Conservative. We will be right back on Top of the Morning. Don't go nowhere. Get a cup of coffee. Come on back.
TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com. This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description.
Welcome back to Top of the Morning. I'm your host, Addul Ali. Thank you so much for checking us out here on Millennium TV 24. You can also get your Roku, Amazon, and Apple TV on to watch us. Also on your Samsung Smart TV, get that Millennium 24 app. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my twin brother, Raheem Soto. Make sure you check us out each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. for the Urban Conservative Podcast. And make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you hit that subscribe, you hit that little notification bell so you know when we drop our news updates. Very important stuff that you need to be aware of. Again, big shouts out to our friends over at French Express Coffee. I'm sipping that French Express blend in my TUC mug this morning, so shouts out to them. We got two more things we're going to cover real quick this morning. And I want y'all to be mindful of what's happening with this guy right here, okay? I want y'all to be mindful of this, okay? Mitch McConnell is set to host Joe Biden in Kentucky to talk about the infrastructure bill. Now, Joe Biden is senile at best, we'll call it that, so I doubt he has any idea of what's going on. But they do plan to highlight nearly $1 trillion, with a T, dollars in infrastructure spending, part of a bipartisan bill that passed back in 2021. Mitch the Turtle McConnell joined Democrats in voting for the legislation, drawing rebuke. Donald Trump called him out and other Republicans called him out. McConnell is one of the Republicans that's under scrutiny after helping Democrats pass legislation, including this infrastructure bill in 2021 and this monstrosity of an omnibus spending bill here in last in 2022. Trump has been critical, as have other conservatives, been critical of McConnell, especially discussing the impacts of this omnibus bill. In a posted video, he called McConnell a disaster and said McConnell is more Democrat than a Republican. And I'm starting a lot with a lot of other Republicans to think the same way because of his actions, not because we want to be mean or not because we're in the cult of Trump personality, but because this dude has essentially worked with the Democrats on everything, giving them everything they want. Republicans like Mitt Romney out of Utah, Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina, Rob Portman out of Ohio, Tom Cotton in Arkansas voted yes on the omnibus bill. That's $1.7 trillion in government funding and discretionary spending for the fiscal year of 2023. Joining McConnell and Joe Biden in Covington, Kentucky will be Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, also a Democrat, and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican. The president will deliver remarks on how his economic plan is rebuilding our infrastructure, creating good-paying jobs that don't require a 4-year degree, and revitalizing communities left behind. That was a brief advisory statement from the White House. Now, Wednesday's meeting, participants plan to address the congestion at the Brent Spence Bridge on Interstate 75 and 71, which has been bottlenecked for years. Plans are in the works to build a new Ohio River Bridge near Cincinnati, Ohio. And Mitch McConnell is going to be hanging out with who appears to be his best buddy, right? Joe Biden is appearing to be Mitch McConnell's best buddy at this point. But you got to remember something, folks. When you talk about people who have been in power this long, right? This is not what the framers of the Constitution envisioned. They did not envision the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate. They didn't envision these people having this much power. They didn't envision people being in Congress for 35 years. That is absolutely bonkers. Now, am I in favor of term limits? Sure. But do I think they ought to be imposed by government? No. I think the voters should be smart enough, be informed enough to know that after a certain point, you tap out. You go back to your farm. You know, you want servant leaders. You want people that realize I'm not here to serve me. But you got to ask yourself this question, folks. How is it that you end up broke when you get there, right? And you leave, you're a gajillionaire, right? You do all these insider trading things. I mean, look, it's a sad day when you have the lead Republican in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, partnering with, rolling with, and I have an idea what this is about, folks. I have an idea what this is about. Okay, Mitch don't care. A lot of these people, they're in their early 60s, late 70s. The exit stage left is near. They want to continue to live their lavish lifestyle. You can't tell me this is anything about other than power and control and money. We're not going to sit here and act like Mitch McConnell is doing this for the best of his constituents. This is all about power and control, folks. So I'm not going to tune in. We ain't giving them the look because we already know what it's going to be. It's going to be more lies about supposed infrastructure. We're not addressing the inflation that's killing Americans. We're not addressing the southern border. That's what really needs to be addressed. Not this BS about printing more money that we don't have, putting future generations of Americans further in debt to countries like China. Don't even get me started on Mitch McConnell's and some of these Republicans' connections to China. Don't get me started because we'll be here all day talking about it. We're going to take a very, very quick commercial break. We got one more story we're going to cover on the tail end of today's show of Top of the Morning. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick pause and we'll be
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
Welcome back to Top of the Morning, folks. Addul Ali here. Thank you so much for joining us. And today's final story of the morning, as you all know, 2024 presidential race, gubernatorial race, a lot of big races happening here in North Carolina. Not only do we have a governor's race, we are going to have a lieutenant governor's race, and folks are already announcing. Former director for the campaign for Dan Forest, Hal Weatherman, has announced that he is running for lieutenant governor. He made the announcement a couple of days ago. There's also a couple of other, Kirk Peavy and some other folks have announced, but Hal Weatherman is best known as being chief of staff for Dan Forest and running the Election Integrity Foundation, Electoral Education Foundation, and some other things. But we are looking forward to seeing how this lieutenant governor's race pans out. We want to know what you think. If you're in North Carolina, would you vote for Hal Weatherman for lieutenant governor? Please leave a comment on this video or on the page. Let us know what you think about Hal Weatherman's announcement that he is going to run for lieutenant governor. There's some polling information out there that says it's not even going to be a close call for Mark Robinson to be the next governor of North Carolina. He's got like 70% of the primary proposed primary voters. So it's not even going to be an option. It's not even going to be a thing. But again, we will be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. We got an interview with our good friend, Michelle Woodhouse. We're going to talk Tom Tillis. We're going to talk Richard Burr. We're going to talk North Carolina politics tomorrow morning, right here on Top of the Morning. So for all our friends at Millennium TV 24 and here at the Urban Conservative, thank you so much for checking out the show. We will see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Have a good day.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.